All right, sounds good. All right, man. So I got Dr. Peter on here, um, chiropractic and sports medicine, also, with a background in masters in exercise science. So I really just wanted to kind of inform our audience in regards to what's been going on with just all the Achilles tears. It's been almost like an epidemic. You know what I mean? We had
Yeah,
seven Achilles tears, eight in one season, which is crazy.
yep,
But just more so like what's going on in the playoffs with the Achilles injuries happening to all-star, superstar, caliber players.
yeah,
Most notably right now, Tyrese Halliburton, um, Jason Tatum. Dame Lillard, like these,
Dame.
you know what I mean? And then obviously we all remember like Kevin Durant, right? So like you got
Yep.
these guys playing with these Achilles tears or like I mean not playing with Achilles tears, but they have like a calf strain or something like that. But just
hmm
before we kind of dive deep into that, can you kind of just explain like what a Achilles tear is and why it seemed to be so prevalent in today's NBA?
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. Like you said, seven or eight this season. When there's only about an average of just over one per season for like the last 30 years. So
Mm.
a significant increase. Like you were talking about with the calf strain, a lot of them are coming after a player already has a calf strain. So Tyrese, that happened with obviously Kevin Durant, and some of these guys are
Mhm.
trying to play through a calf strain. You know, you're in the playoffs, you're deep in the playoffs, you're going to try to play, and a lot of times you don't have adequate time for maybe those injuries to heal.
Mm.
But an Achilles tear, the Achilles tendon is on the back of the leg, right above the heel. Two muscles that are attaching into that tendon would be your gastroc, which is a lot of people know as your calf muscle, that big meaty
Mhm.
muscle on the back,
Mhm.
lower leg, and then a little bit deeper you have your soleus muscle.
Mm.
So those are responsible for those movements of the ankle.
Mm.
And so a lot of times what we're seeing with these injuries is guys will go back. They're maybe about to dribble, penetrate, or something, and they are putting a tremendous amount of load right into that Achilles.
Mm.
And then you see that calf jiggle a little bit in the videos. It's hard to watch. Players go
Mhm.
down, and
Mhm.
they know what happened right away. So that's what an Achilles tear is. You can have a partial tear where it's not the full tendon,
Mm.
or a full tear where that full tendon is rupturing all the way through.
Yeah. So would you say primarily like just digging a little deeper, um, obviously we know that what they call them that negative step, it puts a lot of like force, and it kind of
hmm
activates the Achilles to work, right?
hmm
And at that moment when you have a calf strain or something like that, is it safe to say like the calf muscle is already kind of weak and now you're relying on it more,
Yeah,
so to speak? Or
it's definitely not contracting to its full potential. Your gait might be altered a little bit, but if those muscles are not able to take some of that load, tendons are gonna have to take a little bit more, and sometimes that's too much for the repetitive type movements. I mean, those guys are doing that movement day in and day out
hmm
all year round for many years. So sometimes there's only so much that you can do from a preventative sense, but these guys are just playing at an extremely high level a lot of times, and that can tear. But the sharp increase this season is concerning. I know the NBA is looking into it, especially when you have stars going down in the playoffs. When you got stars going down in a game seven, that's really tough for the league. So they're looking into this as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So like I guess what are some of like the factors um that goes into these Achilles tears where players can like prevent this from happening? Like the obvious is don't play, with a strain or some type of injury of some sort, right?
Sure.
But then like what about, when they're, training, you know what I mean? Like what
Yeah.
things could they be working on to prevent these things from happening? Like is it stronger ankles, working on your
Yeah.
calves? What's some things that they can
So
do?
it's going to be multifactorial, but there's a couple factors that we could look into. Training the intrinsic musculature of the feet, looking at people's feet for one, and how the bones of the feet are moving. That
Mm,
Achilles attaches into that calcaneus, so that's a big bone right in the foot there.
mm,
So that's one. You need mobility, and you need a lot of load management throughout that muscle as well. So training the lower leg, both the gastroc and the soleus. Some of the research is saying that maybe we're not training the soleus muscle as we should. That's
mm.
the deeper muscle within the calf that attaches into that Achilles too. That one is supposed to take a tremendous amount of load, but if we're not training that well, then it's possible that some of that tendon is taking too much load. There's other thought processes that, like, maybe we're overtraining when it comes to quads and hamstrings, and undertraining a little bit when it comes to some of those smaller muscle groups of the lower leg.
Mm.
Uh, People will throw out other stuff, like more people are using low cut shoes, for example, now than used to be.
Yeah, that was one of my
Obviously,
questions too.
yeah, the research on that kind of stuff, I mean, I think time will tell a little bit. I think it probably is going to have more to do with training methods than that footwear. Like a high top shoe is not really providing that much more stability to that tendon or calf. So,
Gotcha. So when you talk about training like some of the smaller muscles in the foot, um, how would you go about that? Like, what exercises is that? You know what I mean? Like, how
yeah,
did that look? Is it band work, working your ankle, doing your ABCs? I know that got something to do with mobility, but like, how do you strengthen those muscles?
yeah, it can be a mixture of a lot of that. It can be training barefoot, for example. So you're
Mm,
actually working those muscles a little bit different than you would with a shoe. The intrinsic musculature of the foot is hard to train we try to train in as game specific or as sport specific as possible. At
hmm
the end of the day, you're not going to be able to mimic those true loads very well without being on the court or being
hmm
on the field. But there's definitely some stuff you can do, just in terms of balance, making sure that the toes are mobile, the ankle is mobile in all directions that it needs to be, so that when the joints are moving efficiently, then those tendons don't maybe have to take quite as much load.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's big. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like even for us when we have our players, like we got players, they work so hard, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But um some of the exercises that I'm seeing from, like the weight room that they're doing,
Hmm.
I very rarely see people doing their calf raises anymore. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or focusing on
Yeah.
some of those smaller, lower
Yes.
like tendons and muscles, the way we
Yeah.
did. Like it was real prevalent when I came up. It wasn't really all these Achilles injuries. It was more so ACLs and ankles, ACLs and ankles.
Mhm.
So like we used to hear people say, "Hey, get your calf raises in, get your ABCs in, get you a band, hook it up, tie it to your bed, and move your ankle in all these different
Yeah.
ways, to strengthen those little areas." So it's good to hear you say that. I think that's something for your performance trainers to look into,
Yep.
and even basketball trainers, whoever you are when you helping these young players. Um,
Yes.
what would you say in regards to like? I think I heard you say something about like load management, right? And so like both Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton went from deep playoff slash
Hmm.
championship runs, and then they
Yep.
went right into playing for a gold medal with the Olympics.
Yes.
Now Tyrese Halliburton, right? Both of them expectations to make the championship again, and one of them did. Tyrese Halliburton, right? So like,
Yes.
would you say that players simply just need to find more time to rest?
It's possible. You see players like LeBron who have been doing that year in and year out for almost a career.
Mm.
But it comes to a point where he might just be built different. Some of these people, like you're talking about, going to a deep playoff run right
Yeah.
into the Olympics. You have a minimal off season. You're playing at a high level the whole time.
Okay.
Back into a deep off season. At some point, you can do all the training that you want to do. You can do everything right from a recovery standpoint. And sometimes the demand of the sport is just going to have some of these injuries happen.
Mm. So, I mean, that kind of like, would you say the NBA season need to be shortened or just the like the stakes are just high? It's going to be a lot of exertion and output,
Yeah.
even if it's only 69 games. You still playing against some of the best players at the highest speed, at the highest heights.
Yeah.
Stronger, it's still going to be some of the same results. Like less games probably really wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, you've seen it in the past couple of years where the teams have done a lot more load management sometimes, and then sometimes the fans are suffering. They might go to a game, for example, where they're trying to see their favorite player and they're resting that day.
Yeah,
So I think the NBA will work on dabbling with some of it. I think the NBA does a good job. I think Adam Silver does a great job of trying to figure out what's going on and willing to change some of the stuff. Some of the other leagues don't change as quickly as the
yeah.
NBA does with some of this stuff
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, it's about ratings and it's about viewership. And if you're having these players injured at a game seven, or early in the playoffs where it affects their team moving forward, um, that's tough. That's tough for the NBA. But like you're saying, it is high stakes. These players get paid a tremendous amount of money to put their body on the line every day.
Yeah,
This is really their entertainment in a way. They got to play at a high level to bring in viewership. So it's
yeah,
high stakes that way as well.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and speaking of like fans, like something they got to understand is like there's a possibility that your favorite player might not come back the same. So like,
Hmm.
what is the recovery process for Achilles tear? Like, how does
Yeah,
that?
you're looking at a good 9 to 12 months.
Mm,
um, 9 on the short end. So even for Tyrese, for example, he would have to have an excellent recovery and be good on all metrics to even come back next season.
mm,
So you're looking 9 to 12 months. They're getting those surgeries for that Achilles repair almost immediately after
immediately.
that. So
Yep.
they can start rehab. The sooner you get the surgery, the sooner you can start healing, the sooner you can be back is the thought process with it all.
Hmm.
But you're still looking like a good 9 to 12 months. First, you're going to get that Achilles repaired. Then you're going to slowly start getting back into some of the range of motion for that full thing over a period of time. And as that tendon heals, because you want to make sure that tendon is healed well.
Mm,
Those surgeries are amazing, though. Those guys are probably never tearing at least that side of their Achilles again, because those surgeries are amazing. But it is a long process to get back. So you kind of saw it with Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had a calf strain, and he kind of opted to sit out and
get
kind of
smart.
rest that calf.
Mm,
And so he didn't tear that Achilles.
mm,
Would he have? Possibly. So at the end of the day, though, game seven, this is what you live for. This is what you play for. Tyrese isn't going to sit out game seven. That's just especially with playing game six. He was okay playing a little bit in game six. So
yeah. And,
you got
and,
to put
and
your body on the line to have it all sometimes. And
yeah.
sometimes you got to make that sacrifice.
I agree. I agree. That's it's gift and the curse, right? And the thing is, like, I know it stings for Tyrese Halliburton because he was playing so well. You know what I mean? Like the first
Yeah.
5 minutes, he made like four
Yeah.
three. Um,
Yes. 9 points in 7 minutes. He was rolling, man. That outcome might be different. Outcome might be different.
For sure. I mean, I had Pacers winning game seven. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you was able
Yeah.
to see the difference in the game when he went out. Like
Yeah.
Pascal, Miles, Naismith, they wasn't able to get those easy looks like they were
Yeah.
in the previous game. So that's just a testament to, his playmaking ability and
Yeah.
also a testament to his heart, his courage. So
Yes.
I don't know if
I
you
mean,
keep up with
an incredible playoff run altogether. I mean,
that was crazy.
one of the best all time. That playoff run that they just had. So to
100%.
end a game seven like that is just a tough blow. A tough
Yeah.
blow.
Yeah, man. My last question would be just like for younger players in the future, right? Like, so this don't become a trend. Obviously, when you say Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese, Kevin Durant, these is notable names, right? But I'm pretty sure, like, I even scroll on my Facebook and I see guys that I used to play with in men's league. They're
Hmm.
tearing their ACLs too. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, I know two people right now that tore their ACL playing in the men's
Yes.
league or playing open gym. So
Yep.
just for your average everyday person, as well as for some of the younger people like coming up, younger players, what would be some good advice so they're not in the same situation?
Yeah, so I think a couple things. First of all, when we're talking about training methods, you're talking about some of the banded work or some of these calf raises or some of this kind of stuff. That soleus muscle that I was talking about, that's like a calf raise, but you do it with a bent knee, so that's not trained very often.
Mm,
But the training methods in general, like you have to be willing to do the mundane stuff, really. You have to do the stuff that's not as flashy.
yeah.
In this world of social media and everything, a lot of people are posting a lot of very maybe flashy exercises that look cool. You're squatting a lot of weight, maybe you're jumping really high, but doing some of the stuff that's a little less flashy, a little bit more mundane, but still can create a tremendous amount of value within those joints, within that tissue, I think is going to be beneficial. When you're talking about men's league and maybe people that are playing once a week or people that are playing maybe not as often too, I think what happens is they're used to playing throughout high school, college, and beyond potentially, where they're in the gym a lot, and now they're maybe just in the gym to run fives, once or twice a week, and they're not doing much from an accessory standpoint because they're taking care of their families, they're working in this kind of stuff. So
Mm,
the tissues, the tendons, the muscles aren't used to the load demand that you go put on the court. So
mm.
just again, doing some of that little stuff, being a little bit more mindful of some of these intentional movements to do stuff that's a little bit more court specific, sport specific, and training that way.
No, no, that's great. That's big time. Yeah, that's good. That's good advice for sure. Um, j- can you tell them where to find you at if they ever need some recovery or some strengthening? I know I had a
Yeah.
session with you and it was amazing on my knee. I felt great immediately after, and now I'm back playing in my men's league.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so yeah, so tell them where to find you, name and location.
Yeah. So we're in Blaine, Minnesota, right next to the National Sports Center here. The name of our business is the Training Room Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. We really take a full approach to get people back to return to sport or performance care if they're trying to just get a little bit of an edge. So sessions are typically an hour in length, and we're doing everything from exercise and rehab, soft tissue work, joint mobilization, and really getting some objective data, some force specific data to see if there's some asymmetries to try to catch some of these injuries before they become injuries.
That's
So
good.
we're in Blaine, Minnesota. I'm Dr. Peter Maring with the training room, but it's been great chatting with you, Terez.
Yeah, 100%, man. Welcome to Tunnel Talk, man. Show that we'll be doing just covering sports, the things that we love, as well as being informative to some of the younger people that we have, knowing that I have like AAU
Yeah,
teams, do training with a lot of youth. So we also want to be able to educate too. So this was very informative for them and they'll love it.
yeah. I think it's super important. If people take a nugget out of here, one tip of advice, and it makes them 1% better, or something that they can be a little bit more mindful
Yep,
of. That's a win. Any Achilles or any major injury, minor injury that we can prevent. That's the goal right there. Keep people doing what they love.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you for taking some time with us, man. I'll see you soon.
All right, man. Thanks, Terez.
Yeah, have a great one.
All right, bye.